All right. Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone is having a grand, wonderful morning this morning. It's Monday, the start to the new wonderful week. And I'm feeling a little bit better right now, but we'll see how I feel the rest of the day. I got sick again, I don't know, about 4 days ago, and I basically sat in bed for those 4 days just staring at my TV, hoping and praying that I would feel better, and I didn't. So I missed out again on another con. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a hold of a bunch of different people and see if I can get some people that can, like, maybe push me around in, like, maybe like a wheelchair or something. I will totally do that. I will definitely rent one maybe next time. I don't know. Because I don't want to miss out anymore. Plus, I want to see everybody in real life. Maybe I just need to take some time on making sure that I'm getting 100% healthy first. Maybe that's what I need to do. Focus more on self in that respect. We'll see. We'll see. But other than that, good morning. I hope everyone is having a wonderful morning. And I hope, despite all the rain, especially my Georgia folks, that you guys are waking up and still getting ready. I was so sleepy like about an hour ago when I first had my coffee. I was like, oh shit, here we go. And I had to, gear myself up for it. But I'm doing a little bit better now, a little bit more awake. So it's just everything, all the rain, and it's been rainy too, which made laying in bed not so bad. Mind you, I did make, some hot cocoa and stuff like that, and definitely lapped up the weekend of trying to make myself feel better. Spent a lot of time sleeping. That was great. Played a little bit of Smite. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. If you guys have not checked out, I did win a trophy this past week on my Smite morning, now that I'm doing mornings. And it was awesome. It was so great. And I did it as Artemis. It was like 20-1 for the game. Something like that. 20-1, 21-1. I can't remember. But I got a trophy for it, and it's a little difficult to get this trophy, so I was like super stoked that I got it for season 9, and it was only February. And I was like, oh shit. Once I finished streaming everything, it finally hit me, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then I had a couple of my friends who were like, okay, I'm gonna try to do that now. It's like, hell yeah. Oh my gosh. But it was awesome. So if you guys want to check out that awesomeness, I do have a clip that you guys can check out from earlier this week if you guys don't want to, go back through all of my different streaming and whatnot. All right, so we're going to jump right on in. There's lots of fun stuff on the table for today. Lots of really cool, fun things. The first one, and this is kind of, I thought about not doing this, but it kind of covered some stuff that a lot of people have had questions about, things that I've seen come up in forums, things that have come up, on different comment sections on like Facebook and, Reddit and all that fun jazz. But a lot of people are, especially now that NFTs, Bitcoin has become an even bigger thing, especially, through the pandemic and stuff like that. A lot of people have been asking and talking about why Steam doesn't take Bitcoin. And I actually was thinking about this like 2 weeks ago because I saw a forum in Reddit that was talking about it. And there was a bunch of people who weren't clued in, on different things that have happened over the years, like Steam having problems with Bitcoin. In this blog actually that I saved, which happened to come up like 2 days ago. And I was like, oh, my phone does hear me. And I was like, but that's creepy that someone like just wrote this. They were like, thinking along the same lines, or they saw the same Reddit, feed that I had, because there's a lot of people on it by the time that I had seen it, of course. But there were a lot of people, that hadn't used Google and didn't quite look into a lot of different things, that had gone on, things like that. So there was like a lot of complaining from people of, I don't understand why they don't do this. I don't understand why Steam doesn't allow, people basically on their platform to be able to use Bitcoin, blah, 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 all the different stuff. Well, I decided that I was going to kind of, I guess, remind everyone who didn't know or doesn't want to use Google to try and figure it out. And this blog actually covers a lot of it really, really well. And one of the main reasons why Steam has decided and did decide back in, I think it's like 2014, I believe. I'm going to double check that just to make sure. It was a little bit longer or later than that. So it was 2016. And then they completely removed everything in 2017. And a lot of it had to do with people not being able to go back and make sure that the Bitcoins that were being used were legitimized. So like 50% or somewhere around the 50% mark through transactions through Steam were actually illegitimate transactions. So when you're dealing with this and you're dealing basically with people using fake money, it always comes back to the developers and people that are on this platform. And one thing about Steam is even if you're a really big name titled game, or even if you're like a small indie, company that, doesn't have very much to its name and, doesn't have, a whole lot of games on Steam or like, just starting out, things like that. They try and protect people that are like this. So even, bigger companies and things like that and Steam themselves, you start to go down a slippery slope, especially when you're talking about money that doesn't actually exist. And if you don't have a software and you don't have, backdoor checks to make sure that the transactions are real, then you run into the problems that they had, which were, just not having actual real money or, completely fraudulent transactions in general. And because, the way that computers are now and because of how great hackers and things people have gotten, especially when it comes to using NFTs and Bitcoins, for companies that haven't been ready for it, it's much better not to even have it at all because of these problems. Now, there are a couple different companies that have started using these things, that especially when we're talking about like NFTs and things like that. But these companies are a lot bigger and they have the money to be able to, figure out whether or not, they're dealing with fake money going through the system or, it's an actual Bitcoin. There's a lot more that goes into play, especially when people do have the monetary value. But when we're talking about Steam, we're talking about, a platform that uses a lot of different kinds of games from different kinds of companies. And I mean, like, so much so that keeping up with what goes on Steam every day is really, really difficult to do. You would have to like quit your job and hit refresh and, do your serious investigating on, different things that come on Steam, because there's so much that goes on there. And so many different companies that are connected to it that, Steam was just like, all right, fine. So I wanted to kind of clear that up, like I said, because there were a lot of people, that were really confused as to why Steam wasn't going in the same direction, as everyone else, especially with dealing with certain things like Bitcoin. So I wanted to clear that up, like I said, and I wanted, to kind of go back and talk about that a little bit, especially because I was talking about it 2 weeks ago. Like, I just thought that was uncanny, so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this first. I was like, because it's not just like my phone listening to me. This is like someone else who that had like the same mindset that I did or read the same Reddit that I did. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely need to cover that. So hopefully that cleared up a little bit of stuff for you guys too. And hopefully that cleared up a little bit too as to why, like certain companies don't necessarily want to go towards things like this, which is understandable. This is not necessarily like a real fear, but this is, something that would cause an actual real problem, especially when dealing with companies, and even like your mid-sized companies, not even, your super indie, haven't been around for very long companies. You know what I'm saying? So, I get it, especially from a business standpoint. So I have some good news as well. Oh, it went away. There it goes. Okay. So I have good news for all my Pokemon people, and this is awesome because Pokemon Arceus hasn't been out for very long. And if you guys haven't checked it out, the Scarlet and Violet new starters have been revealed, as well as the next games as well. And this went live like 24 hours ago, I believe, something like that, 24 hours. So it hasn't been out for super long. And you guys can also check out the reveal. The Pokemon Company announced the next generation of Pokemon games during the Pokemon Presents presentation on Sunday. They're Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, which is supposed to be coming in late 2022. So sometime, at the end of this year, hopefully. We're hoping. They look lovely with a mix of lively city areas and idyllic pastures with tons of Pokemon. Of course, you also get to look at the 3 new Pokemon starters, a grass type kitten, a fire type small alligator, and a water type duck with a fun hat. The YouTube description of the Pokemon Scarlet and the Pokemon Violet announcement trailer calls the games open world, suggesting a change from the typical core Pokemon games. I'm kind of hoping that this part is true. And one of the biggest reasons why is because, not just me personally, but the entirety of the Pokemon gaming world is wanting something a little bit more like an open world, especially because there are so many things that are like it. Not too much of a change up within the game, but being able to kind of choose where you want to go and different things that are happening and all that different stuff without having to run into the typical problems of games basically being set up for, that one storyline. It's been a busy time for the Pokemon Company, which, like I was saying, the release of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl on the Nintendo DS games, but also, like I said, Pokemon Arceus, which just came out for everybody else. So this is exciting, and I'm excited for it too. And if you guys want to see more pictures and the video, you guys can find it pretty easily actually on YouTube, and I'm sure it's circulating around Facebook now. But if you guys want an easy way to get to that and to be able to take a sneak peek at all of the different pictures and stuff like that, because there's so many there's like 10 different really good pictures that you guys can actually look at, and more into what may or may not be in this. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, if you guys want to see that, you can go to my Discord on my sites and sources, and the blog has the video and it has all of the pictures, so that way you guys can get all of that beautiful goodness that is the Pokemon. And then, like I said, this is exciting for a lot of different reasons, but it's another Pokemon game too. So not as exciting, and I'm sorry you guys, but if you guys are on Xbox and you're having problems right now, they have sent out a few different things to help with letting you know what is going on. Supposedly, there was a new patch update, mind you, as well for Elden Ring for Xbox Ones and Xbox Series X and S's are all dealing with issues with Elden Ring, and it just came out, and people paid a pretty penny for it as well. So there's a lot of Xbox players that are really pissed off, and I totally get that. So a lot of recent players suspect, because it hasn't 100% been told exactly why this has been happening, but they think it has to do with their calibration update. It's version 1.02.1 for those of you guys who would like to look it up if you have an Xbox and you're like, hey, I'm having this problem too. But those who have the update can't get online. Those who don't definitely can't, but they're also not sure how to get the latest version to be installed on their Xbox. The only official mention of any issue on the support page says that online issues on the Xbox platform are currently under investigation. So they know something is going on, but they're not saying exactly what is going on, why people can't get on. They did not immediately respond to this or to some of the stuff that's been coming up on Reddit and on Twitter. But a lot of people are really upset about this, which a lot of people who have never played any of the Lord of the Rings games are also upset because they're confused as to why it's so difficult. But I promise if you get through the first little bit, it'll be fine. But for those of you who are dealing with the issue, there's also quite a few people on PC as well who are also having a little bit of an issue. So far, PlayStation hasn't had an issue, but I will be keeping up on this to see exactly when this might be fixed, and hopefully it will be fixed sometime soon because, like I said, a lot of people, and it's now been like 4 days since, so it came out on Friday, unless you're on PC, because then it came out a little bit earlier. But it's already been basically like 4 days. So I definitely will keep up to try and see exactly when this might be fixed for you guys, because I know it can be extremely daunting, especially when it comes to having a brand new game and not being able to play it. So you can have it, but you can't get online. That pisses me off for you guys. I personally don't have Elden Ring yet because, I don't have money coming out my butt like people think that I do. So whenever I do actually get Elden Ring, hopefully it will work for me. But until then, hopefully they will get this fixed pretty quickly and pretty easily. But I am super sorry to tell you guys that there isn't much to go on, especially when it comes to why you guys can't do what you want to do. I would imagine that they're going to fix this as soon as possible, especially because there are so many people that are dealing with this issue. I mean, you can literally find it on Twitter and on Reddit quite easily. And a lot of people who do have, Xboxes who are dealing with this issue are starting to grow a little bit more every day. Yeah. So onward. So we've been hearing some stuff about State of Play, and like I've been stating for the past 2 months, something like that, there will always be rumors, especially at the beginning of the year, and especially with gaming. But a notable video game industry insider has teased that PlayStation should be holding a massive State of Play broadcast at some point in the near future. Within the past week, multiple rumors have started coming about suggesting that Sony has big plans associated with the PlayStation brand for the month of March. And March is always kind of big anyways, especially when it does come to gaming, but it does especially for PlayStation. So that kind of makes sense of why it would fall into, the month of March. And while we have yet to hear whether or not a new State of Play showcase will actually end up debuting within the first month, one insider has now reaffirmed that PlayStation fans should expect sizable news in the coming weeks. Coming by the way of Twitter account, which is at ACCNGT, which has numerous accurate scoops in the past related to upcoming video games and different things. If you guys would like to get that, that's also in my Discord as well. If you guys would like to find that name on Twitter. Very cool, especially when you guys are wanting to know what may or may not be, especially when it comes to rumors, because, always keep up on that insider stuff. A new PlayStation event is currently set to be happening at some point sometime soon, although details on the event at this time are sparse. It was said that PlayStation will have a lot to share whenever this broadcast does actually take place, even though it's currently unknown which games could show up during the showcase. It seems likely that big PlayStation exclusives such as, God of War, Ragnarok, and also Marvel's Spider-Man 2, especially because, Spider-Man is coming up again, could appear in the capacity. Again, it's worth noting that, rumors are rumors, and rumors don't always come to fruition, and, not to get too excited. But like I said, it's March. So while Sony has yet to verify that any of these reports are actually 100% accurate, given how prevalent they have become, it definitely sounds like some major things associated with PlayStation are happening behind the scenes. I would imagine too, with everything that's been going on, especially with, buying up Bungie and things like that, that there are going to be some really fun stuff that are probably going to come out sometime relatively soon. Sometime. But like I said, it's March, so it's to be expected. That's just the way it goes. And speaking of some fun, awesome stuff. So first off, I do want to say last week I did cover the PlayStation 5 treat codes, and I'm not exactly going to cover it this time. But I am going to talk about it a little bit so that way I can give you guys an update of what's going on and to kind of reiterate exactly how this works. I do always, because there was some confusion last week with quite a few people that did message me and comment on some of my stuff, of how I worded things with how this works. So I'm going to explain. So you can try and win a PlayStation 5 with what I feel like are Easter eggs, which basically means that somewhere in the world, whether it's basketball games, commercials, it's endless of where you might be able to find it. And if you want maybe to look at some of the treat codes that have been found so far, super easy to find on Twitter. And I do have the blogs and stuff that you guys can go to pretty quickly in my Discord, of course, always, that you can look at all of the different stuff that has been found, where the treat codes have been found, etc., etc. But I wanted to explain how it worked because a lot of people said that they were really confused. A lot of people were like, okay, it isn't, if you find it, you get a PlayStation 5, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so how it works. If you find a PlayStation 5 treat code, so say you're watching a basketball game and then all of a sudden on the screen you see a treat code and you're like, oh my gosh, or you see it in the background on the screen on, the giant board, whatever the case may be. Then you go online, you enter these treat codes, and you basically have to keep finding as many treat codes as you possibly can. You go in, put it in, collect them, to try and enter to win again to get a PlayStation 5. So you have to kind of go through this whole bit in order to try and win, but that's basically how it goes. So if you do have a treat code, you did find one, you put it in, you may or may not get it, collect them all type of thing. Once you get to that point of being able to collect them, from what I understand, then you can win a PlayStation 5. So I haven't fully done it myself. I have only gone off of a few different blogs and a few different tweets and stuff that I have seen. So that is how I gather how you basically get it, collect your Easter eggs, try and find them, see if you win. So, if you guys would like to see exactly what the treat codes were for the updated list for February 27th is the closest updated list so far that I could personally find. You can go on to my Discord on my sites and sources, and it is on there for you guys. And there have been quite a few that have been found in a whole bunch of different places. So, and everything from like Marvel Spider-Man to like YouTube to FIFA 2022, Gran Turismo, Ratchet and Clank. So some of them are also in games, some of them are on TV, some of them are on Spotify. So there's a lot of different places that you guys might be able to find these treat codes. So definitely check that out. And if you find them, enter to win, because you might actually get a PlayStation 5, and that would be dope to be able to win a PlayStation 5. And hopefully I explained that well and I explained it correctly. And if not, I'll be back next week to explain it to you guys. And then I'll be like, all right, this is really how it goes. Okay, so on my Discord, on my menu for the day, I put my clap back to the Pentagon. And this isn't the first time that this has come up. So, hold on. Let me drink a little matcha first. Just a little sip. Okay. This is my clap back to the Pentagon. So I read this blog, right? I read it yesterday. And there's a new Pentagon study that says Nintendo generation skeletons are too weak and break more easily. I just I can't sometimes. I really can't. See if I get through this. I just want to cover a few things first off. This isn't the first time that something like this has come up, especially within the new generations that are being put through and into the military. I have my own feelings, trepidations. There's so many different synonyms of words that I could use right now. Anyways, I have my own feelings about how I feel about military and things with the military. However, to start stating things like this without looking at the entirety of why this may or may not be happening and blaming it on a generation of people that play video games, it's kind of like the scapegoat. It's like, people are violent now and it's because of video games. This is how I feel about how the Pentagon views the generation of people that are playing video games. So I personally first want to really get into, yes, there are a generation of people that are rather unhealthy. The generations that are here from Boomer to Gen Z and, whatever labeled name that people give the generations of people. Anyways, there is definitely an age of people who do not know how to take care of themselves, but to specifically put it on a generation of people is funny to me, because now we get to see what generations of not caring, of what we've allowed in our food, the education surrounding health and how we take care of ourselves has wreaked havoc to the point of where now you can see it. So blaming it on a generation that is a lot younger is funny to me, because it's like, well, you never taught them in the first place, so of course they're going to be a little unhealthy. I mean, Jesus. But it doesn't have to do with the whole gaming generation. And I say this because there are many different things that you can do with your life. And it can be going home and binge watching things on Netflix. It can be going to the bar and spending, the rest of the few hours you have left and then going home, after getting off of work and playing video games. Just the same thing. So I don't necessarily feel like it always comes back to this. But it's like I was saying, at the beginning of this, gaming people are always the scapegoat when it comes to different things like this. So I just wanted to cover that first, which is the amount of people that know and have the knowledge of how to take care of themselves is fair and far and few in between. And I say that on a personal level, and I also say it I've also dealt and read and listened to other people's stories, not just mine, of people that they have dealt with that just don't know. And this goes from people who have never in their life gone to college, all the way to people who are high-ranking doctors and people who have been in this field for 40 and 50 years. When it comes to me personally, I've talked to doctors and I've talked to surgeons who believe that eating things has absolutely, or what you eat has absolutely nothing to do with being healthy. And it doesn't affect you medically. So, you know, if you eat, I guess, hamburgers all the time, it won't ever give you a heart attack. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. But there are people out there who don't know, and it's a lot more than people realize. You know, the one thing that I've learned, especially about the medical field, having to deal with my endometriosis, having to figure out things with my hypothyroid, trying to understand how to live better based off of the things that I have in my life. I've been around a lot of doctors. I've been around a lot of people. I've, you know, talked to quite a few different surgeons and different, you know, doctors here and there about many different things, nurses. I mean, it's endless about, you know, certain things. And, you know, the disconnect, especially when it comes to the knowledge of how to take care of yourself, is uncanny. So I just wanted to really give kind of a little bit of a lesson, especially to the Pentagon, when it comes to, I don't know, it's like you're able to give people the knowledge and you're able to give people the education, but you just don't do it. And then when it doesn't happen, you slap people on the wrist and you blame them as if they're the ones that caused this problem in the first place, and it didn't. I mean, to be honest, we have a lot of food here, especially in the United States, that is completely illegal to have in other countries. Like, completely illegal. Like, one of the biggest things that comes to mind, you know, is, what is it? The high fructose corn syrup, which is illegal in almost every other country, except for ours, and a fair few. It's like 99% of food from the United States isn't even allowed in England. And that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot, especially because it's England. It's the motherland of the United States by so many forms. It's not even funny. So, you know, to really have that knowledge and to really understand that kind of puts a little bit more perspective, especially with this. So my clap back to the friggin' Pentagon is know a little bit more before you just start blaming people. Because this was a huge indication. Not only are you not knowledgeable or just trying to cover up the fact of, you know, knowledge within itself, which we all know kind of exists, but blaming people for things like bones breaking and not being strong enough has a lot to do with the things that you've been pumping into our own country. So, you know, if you want to blame yourselves, I would do that. Yeah, right. But, you know, that's how I feel. And I wanted to put my 2 cents on that and my clap back to that. So if you guys do want to see a little bit more into exactly, you know, what the Pentagon was saying and different things that apparently have happened and how they feel about certain things, then you can definitely check that out on my sites and sources on my Discord, because I'm done with that clapback. I ain't got no more time for that. Okay, so onward. There's a cool story, and it has to do with Nintendo acquiring a studio that it's been working with since 1983. And for those of you who are, you know, hardcore gamers and have been for a very long time, you guys have probably remember seeing the SRD, which is Systems Research and Development, which did have its hand in making the original Super Mario Brothers, which is probably where you've seen it, and the Legend of Zelda games. The acquisition was announced by Nintendo, which says it will serve to strengthen the management base of SRD and secure the availability of software development resources for Nintendo. So this is really cool, especially when it comes to what Nintendo is trying to do and the things that it's trying to fix. And with Nintendo's backing, especially with the name and of course the bank account that goes along with it, this will definitely help out a lot with SRD and them being able to work side by side with making Nintendo a lot better. So, unlike its previous acquisition of Next Level Games, developer of Luigi's Mansion 3 and the upcoming Mario Strikers Battle League, SRD doesn't develop its own games, but it actually assists in the programming of other studio titles. So this means it's unlikely that we'll see, new announcements as results of the acquisition itself, but it will instead increase Nintendo's development efficiency, which is really, really good, especially because one of the things that they really want to be efficient on is stores, the way that some of the gaming runs, different things like that, especially when it comes to the Steam Deck being a new thing. They've got a little bit more oomph that needs to come out with it, and this is a really, really good plan, especially business-wise. No figure was shared regarding the cost of the move, but Nintendo noted that the acquisition will only have a minor effect on Nintendo's results. I don't personally think that. I think a lot of things are going to come from that specifically, especially when it comes to being able to fix certain things really, really quickly. But also what is going to come from this in regards to efficiency. So the company said at the beginning of February that it wasn't all interested in acquiring third parties, in the wake of Xbox buying Activision, Sony purchasing Bungie, as it is preferred to build up its own development studios. President Shuntaro Furukawa, I believe is how you say his name, said that any acquisition would need to preserve Nintendo's DNA, something like buying SRD almost certainly does, and I definitely 100% agree with that, especially when it comes to everything that they're wanting, to do, especially in regards to making better efficiency with Nintendo. So it makes 100% sense that is exactly what they would want to do. So even though it's not huge, and even though, games aren't going to come from it, there's a lot of things that may or may not come from it. Whether, you guys want to hear, the delicious rumors of what may or may not happen, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. So why my blog won't come up now, I don't know. Okay, so for those of you that remember House of the Dead, and yes, there was a fun little remake as well, for those of you guys that remember that remake, which wasn't actually that too long ago, I believe. I'm trying to bring up my blog so that I can definitely 100% say. Okay, so first off, Megapixel Studios, the House of the Dead remake, may not just be a Nintendo Switch exclusive as previous believed. So that's first off. That's the very first thing that I wanted to get to. With a new ESRB rating hinting that Zombie Shooter may launch on additional platforms, revealed at Nintendo's Indie World Showcase last year, the House of the Dead remake is a long-awaited return of the House of the Dead franchise, bringing the 90s style rail shooter back with upgraded graphics, audio, and gameplay mechanics. Information regarding the game has been super scarce, but the House of the Dead remake's gameplay trailer from April 2021 did showcase the franchise's over-the-top zombie action in HD graphics. A month after the trailer dropped, Arthur, I believe his last name is Gregazink. It's so hard. From Forever Entertainment, spoke on Twitch about House of the Dead remake while spilling some secrets about its eventual release. I am totally remembering the first one from the 90s. Gregazink, I believe. Oh my gosh. Explained that Megapixel Studios is developing the remake on Unity Engine, which is the same engine used for Panzer Dragoon's reboots, and that the House of the Dead remake will have a new horde mode consisting of 15 times the number of enemies in certain areas. During the same interview, he also hinted that the publisher was looking to release the House of the Dead remake on systems beyond just the Nintendo Switch, with some suggesting an eventual Steam release. While he claimed the game would run at 60 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch, while docked, the possibility of additional ports would mean more fans could jump into the zombie slaying action. First reported by Stadia Source, the House of the Dead remake may not be a Nintendo Switch exclusive like previously thought, is where the first rumor came from. with a new rating for the first-person horror game appearing on ESRB for Google Stadia. The House of the Dead remake is rated M for Stadia, like its Nintendo Switch port. The blood and gore, partial nudity, and violence. Though it hasn't been confirmed whether the zombie shooter will disembark from its previously announced Switch exclusivity. Oh my god, I can't even say it. Exclusivity. There we go. Indubitably. But this isn't the first time, one of the Forever Entertainment Sega's remakes branched out onto other systems. There were quite a few that went to Nintendo Switch, Stadia, PlayStation 4, Amazon, Xbox One. So despite initial reports claiming it was coming to Nintendo Switch, in its entirety, the House of the Dead remake is a timed exclusive with Nintendo Switch and will release on other platforms at a later date, or that the developers simply only announced the shooter's Nintendo Switch release due to its close relationship with Nintendo. Its developer, Forever Entertainment, is also remaking Front Mission for the Nintendo Switch, which is set to release sometime this summer. The zombie shooter was initially set to release in 2021, but a December announcement confirmed the House of the Dead remake was delayed until spring of 2022, considering no formal launch date has been 100% confirmed. When fans can finally anticipate the return of the House of the Dead is unclear, but like most things, I will definitely stay up, on all things that are gaming, especially when it comes to remakes of things from our childhood that scared the pants off of us, that our parents weren't quite sure what rated M was for. back yonder way. Alright, so that is about it for me today. And it was a little bit shorter. I love you guys, but that's all I got for this past week that I thought was worth covering and things like that, especially when it comes to some gaming deliciousness. Also, I did want to say this. I totally forgot about this. Okay, so if you guys are on the Facebook, Geekin' Out Cafe is one of the groups that I like following. There's tons of stuff that they do that I love so much. I love all of the admins and everything that every single one of them bring to the table. Some of them are absolutely brilliant. They also cover things live as well. They also do like little fun games, especially when it comes to like Pokemon and stuff like that. They do different reveals. They also give away things. So they're pretty freaking awesome, especially when it comes to the gamer within. They are some awesome people. So this morning, I'm scrolling through Facebook as I'm, drinking my coffee, giving myself affirmations. Usually I don't scroll through Facebook in the morning, but for some reason I was like, I'm just going to anyways. So I open my Facebook up, I'm scrolling, and about like the 10th thing down, one of the admins actually shared something that I thought was absolutely hilarious. And it's funny because it's come up before on like things like Twitter or Reddit and stuff like that. But I believe it was PokeSteve that took the picture, or actually shared it from the Pokemon Refuge. And someone apparently Googled, can Pokemon pee? And this is a question, that a lot of us have jokingly asked throughout the years. We're like, but how do the Pokemon go to the bathroom? And we've come up with things. We've laughed. We've, said some really stupid, hilarious things. It's just endless, I'm sure that many of you also have memories that you went back to like immediately as soon as I started talking about this. So it was shared and I just thought it was hilarious, and I just wanted to share this with you guys too. So it was Googled, can Pokemon pee? And apparently Google states Pokemon don't poop or pee because their waste byproduct is expelled through their use of their special moves. And this comes from Reddit, which is really funny. But that's the Google answer. If you ask your phone, and you ask it, you know, through the little microphone app where it talks back to you, this is what it's going to say to you. And like, there's so many things that come to mind. And I busted out laughing so hard. And I was like, I need to share this with everyone. And then, you know, of course, talk about the Geeking Out Cafe people as well. So that way, you know, you guys could go check them out too. But I just like, I lost it when I saw this, and I was like, man, okay, I guess, you know, it's finally explained. And it puts a whole different perspective on a lot of different things. And it's gross. So I thought I would share that with you guys. I hope you can take that and enjoy that for the rest of your day. If you guys would like to see the post, like I said, you can get to it through Geeking Out Cafe on Facebook groups, and they're a pretty badass group, so definitely check them out. there's lots more than just that, but I just felt the need to share it, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. So onward to my stuff now. So yeah, there's lots of fun stuff that I need to fix and do and things like that, but I've been super sick, especially the last 4 days, and hopefully I can really start feeling better. I have been doing really well with my diet, which is really awesome, but my body isn't having it. It's just not. With everything mixed together, my body's just, it's not having it. So, I've thought a lot about, you know, a lot of different things, and that's what I was talking about, you know, at the beginning of my podcast, that I think I need to have some more exclusivity of just me time and spending time trying to just feel better in a bunch of different ways instead of working so damn hard, because this past year I worked really, really, really hard for not getting things back, and I've had to, especially at the end of the year, really take a look at some of the things that I was doing and things like that, and how hard I, you know, had really pushed to do things without, you know, actually seeing the results from it. So, you know, I've really kind of taken that down a bunch of pegs, which is really awesome. And I'm still, you know, gaining followers and gaining people and things like that, which is really awesome. And I'm also kind of only paying attention to, you know, things that I really enjoy, like my Matcha morning, my gaming news. You know, I'm not so hardcore into doing, you know, my gaming, just my gaming as well, which I wish I was a little bit more, but, you know, jobs and other things that I have to do. But, you know, I've taken a lot of time off, which has definitely helped and things like that. But I think I need like a better understanding in myself. And that's what I basically was thinking these last 4 days of, like, how can I balance each and every specific day and be able to stay on, you know, some sort of an actual like real schedule, because it's hard, especially like dealing with the pain that I do and dealing with like my random days of my endometriosis just being like absolutely horrible. Like it hurts just to go to the bathroom, like just to pee, and like I hate that so much. So, you know, there are things that I have to deal with that not everybody has to, you know, and especially when it comes to trying to get a daily routine and get my daily stuff done. And it's also extremely depressing. So having to like juggle all of that personal shit on top of the normal stuff that I have to do and streaming on top of it has been really difficult. So I'm trying to like find this balance within myself and find this balance around me. And I'm liking the way that things are starting to go, and I'm liking how relaxed that I am with some of the things that I can provide, which is really awesome. Because like I don't plan on doing this, of course, you know, for the rest of my life. This is hopefully going to take off to something else that is going to get me, you know, to where I really want to, which is, you know, hopefully I can become a broadcaster for something, or I can get invited to something that has to do with esports and, you know, be an announcer. Like, there are so many different things that I would like to do, and so many different things that I really want to do, that this, is hopefully going to take off into bigger and better things, at some point. So I'm just, gearing towards that and gearing towards those things on top of, trying to do the normal everyday of working and taking care of home and all that fun stuff. So we'll see how it goes and everything like that. But I am going into why I, explain those things. I am definitely going to be a little bit more adamant, especially when it comes to some of the specific things that I really enjoy doing. So if you guys would like to check that out and like to check out, all of the different great content that I have, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee, which is really easy to get to. And I write blogs. I have tons of different stuff on there. Also, if you guys are wanting to find some cool places to hang out and all that fun jazz, right now I pretty much have places around Georgia and mainly specifically around Atlanta. But I have branched out to the East Coast now. So I have, I think, one or two blogs so far of things on the East Coast of different things that you guys can do, gaming related, of course. And some other really awesome stuff as well, because I like to write about different games, upcoming stuff, different information and things like that. So definitely follow me on socials. Definitely follow me on my Buy Me a Coffee, so that way you guys can get all the delicious information as much as you can, especially if you don't want to go to a lot of places to find that information. But yeah, I will definitely be honing more recently and as of late into what I will kind of cover a little bit more, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain that well. But definitely stay tuned with what I've got going on. I do have quite a few more months before I start doing some other things as well. And I don't want to be too specific with any of that stuff, but I also hopefully will be able to get a few of the sponsorships that I've been looking towards. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm going to keep rambling if not. Anyways, that's about it for me, all of you beautiful creatures, and I hope you guys enjoyed my delicious matcha morning this morning and all my delicious rambling at the beginning and the end. It's always good to ramble, right? Something like that. I don't know. But I will be, and definitely check out my my schedule for this week. I probably won't be able to do Friday morning this Friday, but I will be doing my streaming probably later on within the day. Fridays are now my squad nights, so if you guys are interested in playing with me while I stream, I want to start playing more squad games. So, any games where squads are better, Fortnite, Paladins, Smite, I mean, we can get into the Call of Duty and Warzone it up. There's a lot of different games that are way more fun, especially when it, comes to squads and things like that. So I would love to squad it up with you guys. I would love to get some people together that have never played together and play together with you guys, especially different friends from different parts of the world that I've come into contact with. It'd be so awesome. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that, you can definitely check out my Discord. Super easy to find on pretty much any social media, and I think that I have it on here on Twitch too. I don't think I have it on YouTube, so you guys will probably have to go to my other stuff. But if you guys are interested in that and you guys want to play with me, Discord is the best place to go, because I will probably check that before I check anything else. And underneath my stuff, you can actually find the play with me. I can't remember exactly what I have on there, and there's like little controllers and stuff like that. But you guys can hit me up on there, so that way you can be like, hey, this Friday, this is what time I can play. These are the things that I have, and then we'll just figure it out from there. But I will be doing mornings from now on for everything else. So my matcha mornings and my gaming and all that fun stuff will all be in the morning now. So if you guys are getting ready for work, or you guys are already at work and you're just wanting to tap out for a little bit, you guys can watch me for like an hour and have some fun doing that. Because I want to play some fun, delicious games this week. Because I missed out on twice last week, I think it was. Right? It's like, damn. Okay. So other than that, definitely check out my schedule, like I was saying. And I will be seeing you guys next time Wednesday morning for my Smite morning, because everything's in the morning now. Alright, you guys. You have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, and I hope the rest of your week is just as spectacular as you are. And if you guys are not feeling it, definitely start taking some steps and some strides. It's difficult for me too, so I have to remind myself. Me reminding you reminds myself as well. So it's like, you know what? If you're not feeling it, definitely change it up. Definitely do what you need to do. Little baby steps to the happiness that will be your everyday life. We just got to get there together. And then we'll be good. I promise. I promise. So I will be seeing you guys then. And like I said, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And I will be seeing you later. Bye, guys.